Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you and tell you how to drive a pickup truck. This will be a full driving tutorial, so let's get right into the video. As you can see here, I am in a pickup truck and I'm going to be showing you and telling you exactly how to drive it. So I'm going to try and alternate the camera angle between showing you from like a first person perspective like this, and then I'm going to be mounting the camera also on the passenger side window over there. So first and foremost, this is a general driving lesson and driving tutorial, meaning I'm assuming that you already know how to drive a car, okay, or some sort of smaller vehicle, and then this will be the additional things to keep in mind when driving a pickup truck, okay? Most pickup trucks are going to have a shifter mounted on the steering column over here, so keep that in mind. I'm actually going to mount the camera on the windshield, and I'll sort of just go over everything that you have to do and pay attention to in order to drive a pickup truck safely and effectively. Let's get right into the video. So I'm just going to shimmy over here. And this is much bigger than I'm used to because I don't drive a pickup truck on a regular basis. This is my brother-in-law's pickup truck, and he was nice enough to let me use it for video. So I figured I would gladly do it. I've driven this pickup truck a number of times. He always lets me use it to pick stuff up. You know, if you have a pickup truck, anybody in your family essentially will ask you to use it. That's usually how it works. Yeah, we do each other favors, but yeah, I've driven it a number of times, so we're going to get right into the video. Let me buckle up my seatbelt. Very, very important. Now, we're going to start the pickup truck. Put your foot on the brake. Start it up. Okay, good to go. Now that the pickup truck has been started, you want to make sure that your parking brake is not engaged. So my parking brake is disengaged. We're good to go. Now, you want to let it warm up for just a few moments because, generally speaking, it's going to have quite a large engine. And when you're ready to drive forward, you're going to put the vehicle in drive. Now, the lighting will get a little bit better. I'm just kind of sandwiched between two houses right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start driving and the lighting will get better. My foot is on the brake. Make sure your seat is adjusted nicely. My brother-in-law's a bit taller than me, so I'm going to bring the seat forward a bit. My mirrors have already adjusted, so we're good to go. Put your foot on the brake, put the vehicle in drive, okay? And you want to move slowly. When you're in a pickup truck, you know, it's different than driving a car in the sense of accelerating. You want to move slowly. So now as I go forward, I'm slowly making my way. Now, this is a tight spot, so that's why I'm going extra slow. I'm actually in my parents' driveway, and I don't want to scratch my dad's truck, which is parked right over there, so I'm being extra cautious. But for the most part, you also want to drive slowly in general, okay? Now, I'm going to start driving, and I'll tell you the tips and sort of things to pay attention to as I make my way throughout the side streets over here. So I'm going to start off by driving straight. When you're driving straight in a pickup truck, the good thing is that you're high off of the ground. So when you're driving straight, you're going to get a good view up ahead. Use that to your advantage and make sure that you're able to see far ahead. You don't want to look 5-6 car lengths ahead of you. You want to look as far ahead as you can for the most part. So when you're driving in a straight line, take advantage of that higher mounted viewpoint, okay? The next thing that I want to talk about is steering. Now, pickup trucks are going to vary with regards to whether they have tighter steering or looser steering, but it is going to be very different from a car, and I'll tell you why. Let's say I make this left turn here. The pickup truck that I'm driving, and pickup trucks in general, are much longer than your average vehicle. So with that being said, you have to take that into account when you're turning. So as I turn here and I use my hand-over-hand steering, I'm making a much wider turn, and I'm being mindful of the length of the overall pickup truck. The truck is longer and the wheelbase is longer also, which really makes for a very interesting ride. So you have to keep that in mind. Whenever you're steering, make sure that your turns are not overly tight, or you're gonna find yourself, you know, doing a lot of curb hops or just going into traffic. You don't want to cut into any other lanes. So make sure that your turns are nice and wide. As I make this right turn, I'm doing my safety checks and I'm making the turn nice and wide. I'm taking full advantage of the nice big lane size that I have to use in this driving situation. Okay, now with that being said, we're also speaking about making turns and switching lanes. You know, you have a much longer vehicle than usual. Go ahead, sure, you just ran the stop sign. Go ahead, what's wrong with you? This person literally just ran the stop sign in front of me, like literally, and then waved like sorry, man, how about if I T-boned you? How about if you T-boned me? Don't run stop signs in a pickup truck or any vehicle. That's another lesson. Okay, anyways, back to business over here. When you're doing your safety checks in the pickup truck, oh, yeah, so there's a police officer over there, but he looks like he's, it just, I always come to a complete stop, but it always just really throws me off. When I see a police officer, I'm like, oh, make sure you stop. Make sure you're following all the rules, even though I always do. It's just like an instinct thing my whole life. Anyways, back to business. Forget about what I said just over there. Do you do that too? Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but do you do that too? Like you're driving and then like you see like a traffic monitor, you're like, oh, let me make sure I follow the rules, even though you probably already follow them anyways. I wish they would have caught that person who ran the stop sign. Okay, we gotta get back into this video here. So essentially, when you're switching lanes or when you're turning, you want to make sure that you know the size of your vehicle and where it is relative to your driving using your mirrors. So in this vehicle, I have these long extended mirrors, which is fantastic because it really allows me to see where the vehicle is relative to the road. Make your turns nice and decently wide so you take full advantage of the space around you, and make sure that you're looking far ahead and you're looking all around you. So as I make this turn here, as I do my safety checks, I'm really making sure that I'm in the clear with my blind spots and my mirror checks, okay? And I'm taking this turn, taking full advantage of the space. In addition, your speed when you're taking a turn in a pickup truck has to be slower than in a car. Your vehicle's bigger, number one. Number two, it's heavier. Number three, it's not the same type of vehicle as like your standard typical compact car. So with that being said, you really want to take your turns at least several kilometers per hour slower than if you were driving a smaller car or a smaller vehicle, okay? The next thing that I want to go over is reversing and generally how much space you're going to be taking up. So I'll go over that in a minute. There's actually an empty parking lot over here. Now the good thing about pickup trucks is they usually have a lot of torque. So if I give it some gas here, you see that it has a lot of torque, a lot of horsepower. So even though the vehicle is heavy, you're getting the torque and the horsepower to match up with that. And unfortunately, this parking lot is closed. I thought it would be open. Hey, fellow pickup truck driver, you got to give them a wave always. Unfortunately, that parking lot is closed, but what I will do is I will pull over and I will tell you the basics of reversing and knowing the size of your vehicle just on the side of the road here, okay? So I've just pulled over. Now, essentially, you want to know the size of your pickup truck, meaning you want to go into an empty parking lot like I was supposed to go to. And you want to start moving your pickup truck around in the sense of parking it, reversing it, doing turns, doing U-turns, doing three-point turns, and figure out how much space it takes up. By doing this in an empty parking lot, it's much safer, it's much better. You're just gonna generally be in a better position than if you were to do it on the road. Learn how to do it in an empty parking lot, then you can practice more on the road once you're comfortable and safe, okay? With regards to reversing, I'm actually gonna do a separate video on reversing, a complete lesson on reversing in just a moment after I'm done this one, because I believe it deserves its own entity. However, when you're reversing, and I'm not gonna leave this in reverse for too long because my, oh, he took it off. You know what? My brother-in-law had that reverse beep on it, and I guess he took it off. When I had it in reverse in the previous times I've used it, it beeped. It was kind of annoying. You know, I liked it, but for making videos, it was kind of annoying, but I guess he took it off. Okay, so when you're in reverse, you have to remember that your vehicle is longer and you're going to get much more swing of the rear end of it. Your front end is not going to get much more swing than it regularly would if you were driving a car or a regular SUV or a van or anything like that, because the front tires are relatively a similar distance from the front bumper as your regular vehicle. However, when you're reversing, your rear tires are actually much further from the rear end than your typical average standard size vehicle. So you really want to make sure that you're understanding that the tail end is going to whip out much more than usual when you're reversing. Other than that, you really want to make sure that you're moving slowly, you're taking advantage of your mirrors, using your mirrors as effectively as you can, and looking all around. I've seen people reverse fast with pickup trucks, especially I live in Toronto, Ontario in Canada. So like when people are snow plowing, I've seen them reverse really fast, and it's just not safe in any vehicle, but especially it's not safe in a pickup truck. So with that being said, yeah, that is my very simple driving lesson on driving a pickup truck. I've gone over the basics of what would be sort of different than your typical vehicle, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment, and of course be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.